Hi, this is Anna Imagination with Shifting Perspectives. Thank you for joining me. And we are dissecting friendships. Like, this is something I have been wanting to get into for a long time, and I've just not been mentally there. And now I am. So, I'm officially done with triadic healing. I finished that yesterday. And I did a whole in conclusion, and I'm still wrapping up some things. But in the meantime, I'm on to the next stage of my life, which is friendships as adults and the psychology of why it's so hard to make friends. In the last video, while I was trying to I was more journal blogging than I was anything else. I finally was starting to zero in on this, and I wanted to just restart the video and be like, no, 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 I really want a video just on friendships. So I'm going to recap a little bit. That way you don't have to go back and watch that. But at the same time, we're going to take this to the next level. So I was at game night last night, and I'm at that point in my life where I am ready to socialize. I am ready to build my community, network, and just fill my life with friendships and have a social life again. So this is socializing 101 for adults. And the first thing we're going to do is break down what we're doing wrong. And the first thing we're doing wrong is we don't know what human connection is. Human connection, as I explained in the last video, I'm recapping. Human connection is when you connect over a shared emotion. Connect over shared emotion. And you basically are seeking positive emotions, love emotions, to connect with. Love emotions are what hobbies you like, what things you enjoy. When you have shared interests, this is why we talk so much about shared interests. Now, shared interests is a fantastic place to start. That is a fantastic place to start because we require commonalities so that we can locate the shared positive emotion to connect with. This is human connection at its raw, naked base. This is it. We need shared interest, commonalities to connect on the shared emotions. Emotions is what connects us. I'm going to say that again. Emotions is what connects us. So when you're dissociating and you're throwing away emotions, you're actually throwing away the very thing that you need to connect with another human being. Now, on level 1, we're going to use gaming terms because I'm a nerd. And this makes a lot of sense if you think of this as gaming level. Level 1 is positive emotions. Level 5 is more empathy emotions, deeper emotions. And then level 10 is sad emotions. So you need to connect on all of these, and the more you do, the deeper the relationship. Positive you want to start with. The deeper, more intellectual is next. We're going to say intellectual. So you positive, you have intellectual, and then you have sad. Now, underneath sad, that right there is where you can start getting into intimacy. The problem with the human condition is that there are way too many people who are trying to put level 20 intimacy at level 1. That's when you have friends with benefits. That's when you have one-night stands. That's when you have casual sex. It's because you have level 20 intimacy shoved to the top before you connect with positive emotions, deeper intellect, or you feel sad. Then you've got people who say things like, I don't want any of the baggage. And when they say baggage, what they are referring to is, I don't want anything deep, intellectual, or sad. That is what they equate to baggage. Well, that's not baggage, that's the human condition. And that's not how emotions work. This person is emotionally unavailable. That is your red flag. Emotionally unavailable and a red flag. So you have your positive emotions, and then you have your deeper intellectual emotions, and then you have your level 10 sad emotions, and then you have your intimacy. You need to connect with all of those before you get to intimacy if you want a proper, healthy, stable relationship. If not, now you're unemotionally unavailable. They might be emotionally unavailable. You're not going to have the relationship you require. Now, the reason why I say level 1, level 5, level 10, level 20 is because you need about 5 levels of positive exposure before you can get to the next one, which is deep intellect. Now you're going to be looking at levels 5 to 10. You need to have a combination of positive and deep intellectual for the first 10 before you can even introduce sad. And then from 10 to 20, you want, well, it's level 1 through 20, you want a combination of all 3 of those things. And you want to make sure that the ratio is positive, deep, and then sad. You don't want like primarily sad. Now, here's my problem. When I meet somebody and they ask me about my past, seemingly harmful, it goes to sad. It's too soon. It is too soon. I can't give them my backstory. I can't give them even a simple question without us accessing an emotion that's a level 10 emotion when we've just met. So when we first meet, we need to connect with the positive emotion for the first 5 times we meet, at least 5 times. And then the next 5 times that a person meets with somebody, you're looking at having deeper intellectual conversations, stimulating conversations. You need to share the emotional connection. Now, here's the problem. When you ask someone, what do you do for a living? In most cases, it evokes a feeling of depression and sad because almost everyone hates their job. So, right off, the societal expectation is to ask a question that makes everybody uncomfortable, ask a question, a stranger, something that's going to make them depressed and miserable. And it's funny because we're at a point where almost all of us hate our jobs. So that when we ask a question in a social situation, what do you do for a living? We are all unanimously depressed and sad. And then that makes us laugh because, wow, look at us all just go, it's funny. So we all laugh over that. And then in New York City, anyway, there's the ongoing joke of let's just agree that we all hate our jobs and no one wants to talk about work. Yay! And there we're back to the positive because we've just met these strangers. We don't want to talk about something that depresses us, like our jobs. So the key is, and here's the problem: we connect over these emotions. So then you've got the question of where are you from? Fucking hate this question because if you're from someplace horrible or bad, everyone immediately thinks of their childhood. Childhood was not pleasant for most of us. So, right off, we're asking the question, what do you do for a living? Which depresses us. And then our backup question is, where are you from? Let's talk about your horrible, abusive childhood. That's not a fun topic either. And by that point, we're usually out of questions. Now, in my case, I can throw in there if there's food present, hey, I need something that's vegetarian. Now that opens a door for somebody to go, oh, I can connect with her. No, don't connect with me on that. That's not a good topic. I'm a vegetarian for trauma reasons. It's a bad subject. It goes into a rabbit hole. Maybe I just need to tell people that's a rabbit hole. Please don't do it. So it's a what topics are safe that are going to get us the human connection that we seek and that keeps everyone in a good mood so we can start establishing a friendship. And here's the thing is we don't have any topics. So it's a hunt for finding shared interests. So here's the question, and this is it right here. This is it. Shared interests. This is my favorite part right here. What do you want to build in a community? What kind of community do you want? Do you want a community that's based on science fiction fantasy? Do you want a community that's based on gaming? Do you want a community that's based on your polyamory lifestyle? Those are the questions you need to be asking because right away, they're either going to be interested or they're not. They don't have to be interested. It's a great weeding it out. And if you find somebody who's into that, boom, you've connected. And now you can build a connection over that. but we don't know to look for that. Instead, we're asking, what do you do for a living? And tell me about your childhood. You don't want to talk about my childhood. No one wants to talk about their childhood. No one wants to talk about where they are from. No one does. Now, and this is a very specific New York City thing, is knowing where you live. And there's a whole thing, it's a culture thing here, is knowing exactly which neighborhood you're in, because what they really want to know is if you live in a certain neighborhood, how inconvenient is the commute to get to you? That's really what they want to know. So the question here is your default. This is where I live. This is the entering. I'm an hour away from here. And that's, we're at a point where we know this about each other. So when someone asks where you live, what they really want to know is, which train are you on? So I know how much of a pain in the ass it is to see you. Is this a fluke, or am I going to see you again, like, ever? So that's like a whole, like, niche topic for New York City people. But aside from that, it's this, what do you want to connect with? So if you want to build a community, decide what kind of social circles you want to have. Do you want a movie social circle? Do you want a wine lovers social circle? If that's the case, that's what you need to be talking about. That way you can actually pitch it, throw it out there. This is networking and this is business. Treat your friendships like business and you'll get this, like, down pat. At least for me anyway, that's how I work. So if you decide, okay, I want a group that's focused on wine, I would love some wine friends to hang out with, so I can say, let's go to a wine bar and chill. That would be awesome. I want weed friends. That would be great for me. I would love to have a group where we can just sit down and philosophize. So weed and philosophy would be a thing for me. What books you want, if you want a book group. So when people ask you, what do you do for a living? We don't want to talk about that. No one wants to talk about that. Instead, if you had your ideal community, what would you build it around? What are your interests? Pitch that question to them. Once you start to navigate conversation, and that's really it, is we have no idea how to talk to strangers. We have no idea how to instigate conversation with strangers. My partner does this, where he has severe anxiety with it. I'm better at it than he is, but I have anxiety. But between the two of us, I'm so I'll go out there and I'll initiate the conversation and I'll get things started. And then he will come in behind me, and we've got this thing choreographed between us where I can break the ice, I can introduce the topic, and then he gets the smooth jumping in and just sliding into the conversation where I can introduce him, and now we have a connection and now we can build community. So but good God, adulting is so hard when it comes to friendships. And the reason why is because society says you have to ask, oh, where are you from and what do you do for a living? Well, you just brought up the two most painful conversations in my life. Like, that's it right there. We meet a stranger, and the very first thing we say is, tell me about the most painful thing in your life. What do you do for a living? And tell me about your traumatic childhood. Like, and adults don't question this. We just keep rolling with it. We cringe through it. And then we go, okay, I either lie, I evade, or I have a trauma bond with a stranger. And that's literally it. And then we walk away going, I don't understand why I have no friends. Because we are either lying, evading, or trauma bonding with strangers. That's why we have no friends. All right, we have identified the problem. We really need to stop asking these questions and get down to, I don't want to trauma bond with you. I just met you. I'm going to say this to people. I don't want to trauma bond with you. I just met you. Let's talk about pleasant topics. Like, these are my interests. I'm going to give you a list of topics and you tell me which ones you want to talk about. Do you want to talk about wine? Do you want to talk about weed, philosophy, science fiction, fantasy, Freddie Mercury? Or we can talk about, pick something, go. And there you go. Like, have a list of topics that are safe and fun to talk about. And when somebody asks you to trauma bond with them over your job or your childhood, you can say to them, thanks, but no thanks. I just met you. I don't want to lie to you, and I don't want to trauma bond with you. Well, I don't know you well enough first. Let's talk about nice things. And decide what kind of a community you want. Decide if you want a lifestylist. You know what? I can talk about polyamory. I can talk about Life says I can talk about politics if you want a political circle. If you don't want a political circle, this is a bad thing to bring up. If you want a religious circle, then you can bring up religion. But if you don't want a religious circle, you really should not be bringing up religion. Do not bring up topics that make you miserable. And and that's it really. That is it really. We have no idea how to navigate friendships because we are bringing up the wrong topics. Because society says, "Oh, ask them about what they do for a living and ask them about their childhood." No, 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 no. Bad topics. I don't want to trauma bond with strangers. So I feel prepared. I feel better. So it's prepare and don't walk into this without preparation. You need to prepare. Expect to have these conversations. Have them literally on hand. Put them on a flashcard. One of the things I said I proposed at one point, and I still stand by this, is have like a little a note in a jar, multiple notes, topics in a jar. And whenever you meet somebody, have like 5 little things so that, hey, I just met you. I have a game that I play. And you pull out these 5 things and it's at random and you have to answer the question. They're conversation starters. They are just 5 little conversation starters to help adults into conversations. And, I almost want to do this on a regular basis just because it's not just me, it's everybody. Every freaking adult struggles with this because society says your options are to lie or trauma bond with strangers because society says you have to ask these 2 top questions. It's like, no, I don't want to know. So then the next question is have 5 ready to go. 5 safe topics. And this is where a lot of adults like draw a blank. Well, what's a safe topic to talk about? Not politics and not religion. Those are not safe topics. Safe topics, books. And this isn't the reason why we network and the reason why we friendship is because we are looking to build our community. Our community is built on what we like to do. So have these questions literally targeted to accumulate people. And we're not going in with any kind of a plan. We're winging it. We have no idea what we're doing. Identify what it is you're doing. Why are you meeting friends? What is a friendship? And really, at the end of the day, that's it. It's a community of like interests. So what are your interests? And then deliberately choose topics that you can go through and have 5 of them ready. So maybe you can connect on one of them. Animals is an easy one. Cats, dogs, pick one. That one is so easy. Like almost everybody has a cat or a dog, and almost everybody is happy talking about a cat or a dog. Oh my God, that is such an easy topic. And if you meet somebody and they say, I don't like animals, well, you know that person's who doesn't like animals? Like that's a red flag, in my opinion. So, like, seriously, do you really want to bond with that person anyway if they don't like cats or dogs? Like, yeah, okay, so I'm totally, but I mean, if you really think about it, let's assume you have somebody who doesn't like anything you like, doesn't enjoy anything. They have the opposite politics. The only thing you guys can talk about is your crappy job. Why would you want to indulge on any kind of a friendship beyond that? But instead of waiting to talk about that information much later, instead, when you meet somebody, use that opportunity to literally network to bring them into your friendship community. What kind of friends do you want? It's a really hard question. What kind of friends do you want? What kind of a partner do you want? What kind of things do you want to share with people? I've said this so many times before when I delve into love, relationship, dating, and partnership. When you look at the work you have to do for your internal self, you are literally, the whole thing revolves around self-love. Self-love is the first love. So that when you seek out a partner, you are not seeking out an emotional prosthetic. You are seeking out an actual celebration of self-love. You are actually picking out friends and partners and lovers who literally help you celebrate how awesome you love yourself. Literally, that's healthy. That's what we should be doing. But there's this societal thing of, oh, that's so egotistical. No, that's healthy. They don't want you to have an ego because society is the way it is for their own agenda. We don't talk about that anymore because Wonderland. But that is it. When you are picking out an extension of you, it is an extension of you. It is literally a celebration of your self love. The foundation is what you love, whether it be any of your interests. And if you're not sharing what you love with a partner, they're probably an emotional prosthetic. You're probably using them because you feel like you need them. That's a red flag. You have mental work to do. You should not be dating. You shouldn't even be looking for friends. You should be at home doing some mental work to figure out who you are. If you don't know who you are, you cannot get a healthy relationship. You can't, because what you're going to be doing instead is getting emotional prosthetics. So when you are finally solid and stable and you know what you love and you have defined yourself, now, which of those interests of yours do you want to share with other people? And that's really it. I found my field bio last night. And when I did, it was actually a list of all of my interests. And it blew my mind away because I've been doing so much mental work that I forgot all of these interests. And it was just like wine, salsa, dogs, Broadway, Central Park, picnics, karaoke. Karaoke. I have a community for karaoke. It's important to me. TV binging, adult slumber parties. Oh, yeah, I do those. Dinner parties, game nights, friends, food, nudity colonies. It's like I saw that list and I was like, oh, yeah, these are the things that I wanted a community to be built upon because these are the things that I am, that if I don't have in my life, I'm not happy and balanced because I love these things. And once I realized that, suddenly it was, I want friends with which to celebrate with. And that's it right there. It's a celebration of love. That's why you have friendships. That's why you have partners. That's why you have lovers. And if you have not defined who you are, you're not going to be able to cherry pick people who resonate and share that with you. I now have a friend who I can share Freddie Mercury with. This is very important to me. So I need a Freddie Mercury community. Like I need this because when I do karaoke nights and all I am singing all night long is Queen, I need somebody who will stand against the masses going, we're listening to Queen again. Don't diss it. I will have a comrade in arms going, yes, we're listening to Queen again. Like that's what I need. So I have community. So when you meet somebody new, don't be nice. Don't be nice. You're not there to be. I hate Not Nice. Not Nice by Dr. Aziz Gazipura, one of the best books I've ever read. Dr. Aziz Gazipura wrote the book Not Nice. Wow, phenomenal book. Read it. Amazing. He takes the entire concept, the psychology of not nice, and does this whole reality check of when you are not nice, when you are trying to be nice, you're actually being a doormat. We have equated being a good person with being a nice person. And being a nice person means being obedient, being submissive, being a slave, being a doormat. That's nice. Good means having morals, having ethics. And we have confused being a doormat, being submissive, being subservient with being good, with the word nice. Don't be nice. Do not be nice. Nice is the word our parents used to condition us into obedience. Don't be nice. Be an assertive jackass. Be assertive. Because when you're assertive, you're standing up for yourself. The book is phenomenal. Read it. Oh my God, it's an amazing book. It was like one of the foundations of, holy shit, this is the mindset that the world needs. Absolutely beautiful. I read that book and I stopped apologizing. Like, you know how everyone goes around going, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. We over apologize. That book will wipe it out of you. Oh my God. He explains it so beautifully. And I'm going, okay, so I'm never going to use the words I'm sorry again unless I actually am at fault. So beautiful book. Absolutely beautiful book. So when we go into a conversation with a stranger, we are immediately hardwired. Oh, we got to be nice. We got to be nice. So we immediately try and do what society says, which is ask about the job and ask about the childhood. And no one is pausing to say, do we really want to talk about these two topics? No one wants to talk about them. Now, again, New York City, half of us are going, we don't want to talk about our jobs. We also need to say we don't want to talk about our childhood either. Like, don't ask me. That's like fifth, 10th date material. Don't ask me about it. So instead, be prepared with your list of interests. What kind of community do you want? This is your homework. Get out a piece of paper and ask yourself, what kind of a community, if you could choose 10 friends, your perfect ideal friends, so that you could hang out, what would you want to do when you hang out? What kind of things would you want to bond over? Do you want to bond over a particular genre? Do you want to bond over LARPing? Do you want to bond over game night? Do you want to bond over a really awesome television show that you absolutely adore? And if that's the case, then talk about it when you meet strangers. Hi, I'm Anna. I have a serious problem with Freddie Mercury. And see how they and see how they respond. And if they don't respond, well, they are not going to be my Freddie Mercury friends. And that's okay. You will immediately realize we have nothing else to talk about. And I don't have to talk to you about my job or my childhood. Like, absolutely. That's it right there. So, 5 things. What is your ideal community? What do you love? What interests do you love about you so much that you want to share them with people? What of your interests do you want to share? I like people who enjoy wine. I love people who enjoy weed because I don't want to be that kind of a person who smokes up on weed and everyone else is uncomfortable. That makes me uncomfortable. So I want to make sure that my friends and I are on the same page. I want to have a glass of wine and I don't want somebody else in the room who's going to feel uncomfortable. I don't want that for them. I want to be able to grab a glass of wine, have them come over, have them with a glass of wine going, look, I brought a wine. And we go, ooh, what did you bring? I want that in my life. So it's really important that you not hook up with scotch drinkers or somebody who absolutely is not an alcoholic or not into wine at all. Like, this is the important shit that you really need to think about. What really resonates with you that you're wanting to bond and share with? It's about sharing. It's really about sharing. There's like a whole other thing. Like, that opens a door. Sharing opens a whole nother door. I have not opened that door yet because the psychology of sharing is so much fun. That leads into trade, bartering, resources, business, like all of our core psychology of what exactly resources, trade, negotiation, and bartering, it all comes down to sharing. And sharing goes back to community and friendships. It's almost as if once upon a time, like truly deducting this logically, it feels like it is as if our clients and the people that we did business with used to be our community and our friends. Like, we only did business with our friends. That's what it feels like. Every time I've done any kind of research, I'm finally saying out loud all the things that I feel. Every time I've done any research on money, community, bartering systems, trade, early sales, early commercialization, there's like this common element between friendship and business. And I'm going, isn't that interesting? As if our friends and our community was our first clients. And then from there, our clients made references. There were referrals. And that's technically, good God, I feel this. It's so strong, and I just haven't said it out loud yet. So that either you have friends, clients, and then you have referrals and references who come in from that. Oh, you're a friend of a friend. Now, if you look at the dating scene, I do this personally. This is my rule. I don't date anyone unless a friend can refer you for safety purposes. And like last night, the 4 people I met last night were referred by a friend who was also referred by a friend. So it's like, oh, okay, I got this. Like, it's interesting. This is how social networking works. And I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it because it's a hunch and I just feel it. I suspect that once upon a time, the way business is supposed to be, that we are not supposed to be doing business with strangers. That's what it feels like. It feels like we are not supposed to be doing business with strangers. We are only supposed to be doing business with our friends. And it feels like commercialization and sales and marketing in corporate America blew that out of proportion because you originally had a small knit community where everybody knew everybody's name and everybody was like LinkedIn and everybody trusted everybody. You had trust. This is so, and you didn't want to basically hoodwink your friends. In fact, the only people who did business with strangers were salesmen because they were practicing dirty sales and they were taking advantage. Music Man. That is what the whole fucking musical Music Man is about. A dirty salesman walks into a nice town filled with community, family, friends, business. Everybody knows everybody. And this stranger shows up as a scam artist. So if you are a stranger trying to do business with strangers, most likely you are a scammer. That's how it used to be because no one could vouch for you. There it is. No one could vouch for you and no one who knew who you were. There's something else here. There's something else here I'm missing. It's not that I'm missing it. It's no, I am missing it. There's one other thing to this. There's one other thing. Yeah, you just don't do business with strangers. Stranger danger. If you weren't in the community, you couldn't do business with them. This is the way it was. The idea of doing business with strangers, that's it, testimonials. This is why testimonials are suddenly so important. Suddenly, those are new. They have not been around. Referrals were around. He's a good guy. You can trust him. I've known him for 20 years. Sales and business was part of a community. And it was done from friend to friend. It's as if it starts with friends and then it grew into business within the friends. So you only did business with your friends. And at some point, we disconnected that. And now we think, oh, clients are separate from friends. Oh, it's normal to connect and have a network of business clientele without any connection, without any friendships. Now you need dirty sales and dirty business. Now you need cheap marketing and lies to try and communicate with other people. This is extraordinary. This is like where it all starts to come together. And in order to do any of this, it keeps coming back to shared interests, shared community. Wow, we have really gotten away from community. We have really gotten away from community. Wow. All right. So, homework are those at least five topics of interest. Yeah. I don't know you well enough to trauma bond with you. That's what I'm going to start telling people. I don't know you well enough to start trauma bonding with you. Yeah. Five interests. Five things. For me, it's going to be the wine or the weed, the game night, the nudist colony, and I want the dinners. I like dinner parties. We have something here called cuddle puddles. Love those. Yeah. Yeah, that feels good. And it's also that hierarchy or the chain of the order of intimacy. There's like the evolution of intimacy. Do not skip steps. When you skip steps, you end up with horrible results. Because there's a reason why it's that way. If you are skipping steps, you are all emotionally unavailable. If you're not wanting to invest in people emotionally and connect, then you should not be. Yeah. Human connection is all about connecting on shared interests. All right. All right. So begins this chapter of my life where I am starting to unravel networking, friends, and socializing. We're going to start pulling this apart. If you love shit like this, like, subscribe, follow, comment below. Let me know what part of the show resonated with you. Read the description down below. I want you, please take a look at my Linktree account. It's the city directory for Authenticity City. See if any of it resonates with you, if you can use any of it. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.